Okay. It's going to start. It's okay. It's okay. It's not started yet. No, it's okay. It's okay. No. It's okay. It's not yet joined. No, please, it'll take an hour or so. So don't. Please pull it join.
Yes.
The topic I'm talking. Yeah, 7:30. I said.
That's 7:50.
Okay.
Okay, then you hope that I'm going to give this. Do you send the picture to your sister also to ask her?
No.
Fitting.
You're live. I just sent to you. Yeah. Ganeshan is joined.
He's in Dubai, huh?
Yeah. Hello? No, it's okay. Hello?
Hello, Vikram.
Hi, Ganeshan. How are you?
I'm fine. Good. How are you doing, Vikram?
Fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very nicely. Very good.
Okay, good. This idea of the group, Shalini, to put this WhatsApp, I mean, this YouTube group.
Yes. That's fantastic.
And basically, I've not seen too many of these, but basically, we have to give an introduction of the topic and others questions. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Whatever you like to talk, whatever you like to share,
Yeah.
It's all yours. The time is yours, and yes,
No, no, because what I'm to
mm,
do,
yeah,
just thought I'll talk on an area which
right.
not many people have either gone to Latin America, lived there, working, or traveled. You know what I mean?
Absolutely correct. You, possibly somebody would have traveled for some meetings or holiday. Even that is very, very probably unlikely in our batch. But working wise, I don't think anybody would have gone there other
Yeah,
than you.
living also I don't remember, but anyway, I would love to share.
Uh, Definitely, that will
Yeah.
be a great opportunity for every one of us to listen to your experience from that part of the world. Yeah. So I hope some of our team, our group will be joining us. Let's see.
No,
Um,
no, it's okay. I think I was a little overactive. I signed in at 7:15 because I wasn't sure how it
okay. Uh, one second. I'm just going to message Divyendu. Divyendu is in Dubai. Whether he is joining, I will check.
No, no, it's okay, Ganesh. Each to their own. I many people watch the YouTube version of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I've done is also
Uh-huh.
my LATAM trip with my family and friends. I put it on a interactive map.
Uh-huh.
So if one phone can mirror the other, I can show that where all one traveled.
That's very good. That way. Uh, in fact, I never been able to listen to the video live from my home network in the past few sessions what I attended. So I was
Hmm.
always looking at the recorder. But today I'm in the office, so office network is better because in UAE there's some kind of
I
they do block all these IP things
I
supposed to be a.
know my cousin who's in Dubai. He asked me to
Uh-huh.
talk to him by talk or something like that. Tick tock talk.
Talk, talk. Okay. So
So
during the
how are you, Ganeshan?
conversation, yeah, I'm doing well, Vikram. Always, what do you say, working with the business challenges. Every year is more challenging than the previous year. So
No,
2019 has not been is no exception.
no, I think you're right. I think international business has become more difficult, and in my business, it's no longer about hello.
Yeah, I got cut off. You said no longer about your
No, no
business, no
longer
longer.
about sales. It's about recoveries now.
Oh, right. So that is
Because in
the.
our business, we sell to emerging markets,
Mhm.
and in emerging markets, you know how it is.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. Recoveries are a major issues, challenges. So
And
right
I
now
was
you are in Hyderabad, right?
no, no, I'm in Singapore, and
Oh, you're in
unfortunately,
Singapore. Okay.
yeah, unfortunately, I was not able to attend Vivek's wedding because the whole group came because I was
Right,
traveling
right, correct.
for 3 weeks overseas, and then I got back to Singapore. I had to be here till Christmas. I told Vivek, of course, but I felt very bad because I don't think so many people have ever come to Hyderabad.
I think the biggest IMC gathering, at least from our batch, was this.
Yes,
This
it's the biggest gathering of IMCAL from our batch.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a great. Even I was planning to go, but then work here and being in the end of the year, it's been very difficult.
No, no, I totally agree with you. See, these kind of things, if you're based in India, like Raj Jr. was visiting, it's
Yeah,
okay from Bangalore. You know, Madhavan came.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
if you're coming from overseas, then a lot of things have to be factored in.
Yeah, very correct.
How's your
Absolutely.
son and daughter-in-law? Are they in India or they're in Dubai with you?
They are in India. They are in Gurgaon.
Hmm.
So son is working for the Vedanta group.
Okay.
Daughter-in-law just changed. She was working in American Express, but she's joining somewhere else now. But they visited us. They visit us once in 6 months.
Okay. So basically, is your son the first one from our batch's
Yeah,
children who went to IIM Cal? I mean, who went to IIM?
yeah. He went to Bangalore. I am Bangalore.
Of course, I know. I mean, is it the
Ah.
first of our? Because Vivek's
Oh,
son went to IIT, then he went to Columbia.
oh, yeah. That way you were asking. Yeah, it looks like that.
Ah,
I think I don't know anybody else gone
no,
to
there's
IM.
nobody else.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, when we Silver Jubilee, I
Uh,
was with Dheeraj Lal, and
okay,
Dheeraj Lal said, "Look at the people walking in for dinner." He said,
okay.
"These are all from class 2, class 3 cities who worked
Uh-huh.
hard to enter IM. Our children
Right.
don't have the same uh, strength to match up with these people." I said, "Yes." He said, "When we came to IM, all class,
Yeah,
lower middle class backgrounds, but
right.
because of our hard work, we're all upper class. So the
Yes.
children don't have the fire."
That's right. That's it's a harsh realization of that situation. Of course,
No,
people have gone to, yeah,
no, you're right. See, of course, there are exceptions. Your son, Vivek Bhargav's son, but they are more the exception than the norm.
yeah, yeah, correct. See, of course,
I mean,
many
what
children
got us
have
into
gone to,
IM was, I mean, in my case, it was not economic circumstances because my background was comfortable, but hard
yeah,
work. You know what I mean?
hard, right, correct. Yes, very correct.
So today it's
So
not the same.
that fire, not only in terms of getting into IITs or IIMs, but even otherwise achieving generally in whatever you do, that seems to be some kind of what do you say, the lack of fire in them, that take it easy type, and
Yeah. I mean,
that is
I totally relate to that. I totally relate to that.
yeah. How is your wife? She's also in Singapore now, right?
Yeah, she's in Singapore and she also sends her regards to you.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you again someday. Why don't you
Yeah.
make a trip to Dubai? Maybe on
See,
your way to Europe somewhere
no,
after maybe.
Ganeshan, it's true. I travel quite a lot through Emirates, meaning I travel once a year to Argentina, once a year
Uh,
to Europe, but these are all connecting flights. You know what I mean?
yeah, but you can take at least 1 or 2 days break. Your cousin is here. We are here.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
We'll
In fact, I
we
have
will
many.
make
No.
okay.
What I'll do the next time I'm traveling, maybe
Yeah,
the way out, but on the way back, I'll break my journey and I'll let you know in advance.
please. It will be really a wonderful opportunity to see you and show you some of these places in Dubai.
Yeah, yeah. I I know there's quite a big group of ours. I see Ramnath Sethi, and I saw the latest IM gathering.
Yeah,
You know,
even 54th batch, 53rd, 54th batch was there.
54th batch is an amazing thing.
That's it. 32 years after we passed out.
My God. I remember
Uh,
Shastri was so excited that he
uh-huh.
became alumni secretary because he
Uh,
said, "I'm celebrating the 25th year of IM Cal." Okay,
okay, right.
which is true, right?
Yeah.
And then I think when the 50th year came, Shastri reminded, he said, "See, our 25th and the 50th, somehow, does it match? Because ours is 20, we should have been the 25th batch if we were the 50th year. I mean, the 25th year."
No, no. See, the 25th year of establishment of the IAM.
Ah,
So that
establishment.
means, yeah, but after 2 years only the batch will come out, correct? But I think the
Oh,
first year there is some program. The proper PGDM probably didn't start in the first year.
no, I remember Shastri claiming as bragging rights
Okay.
that he was the alumni secretary during the 25th year of IM.
Uh-huh. Okay, okay, that's nice.
Anyway, I think now uh,
Yeah,
we're
anybody else
almost.
you see on the app? I'm not seeing anybody else in the.
I'm seeing you, only you and me.
So in fact, Shalini was so kind to send me a personal message. Ganesan, I'll be 3:30 a.m. in the morning for me. So can you please?
No,
I said
actually, she
definitely.
asked me to come on the 17th, but I just couldn't.
Uh,
So I- And she's
okay.
been chasing me for some time, but I was traveling. I said, let me come back and confirm. You know. Then I just
Right,
wrote
right.
to her day before yesterday saying that I know, but I'd like to talk about Latin America because I presume it may be of interest to some people. You know.
Yes. Correct. Very correct.
So anyway, what I'll do is it's now 7:30.
Yes.
If it's
You are recording,
I,
right?
I don't know what is being recorded. The recording button is on.
Okay. Okay. Fine. That means it is. It will be recording. Yeah.
Okay, that means
Should be.
somebody has to knock off 15 minutes of uh, idle chat.
I did that. Yes.
Okay,
So
then should I start?
yes, please.
Okay, okay. Good evening, friends. Good evening, particularly Ganeshan, for tuning in. I'm great, Shalini, to put this Catch 22 talks together, and Dr. Vedyanathan to select this medium of Zoom Cloud. What I wanted to talk today was probably a topic which may be of interest to others and certainly been very involved with me for the last 20 years of my career, which is Latin America. I wanted to break my talk into three areas, which I sent the outline: living, working, and traveling. Okay. How I got involved in Latin America, even I don't know, because I'm not a linguist and I was working for Dr. Reddy's in Singapore. In 99, Dr. Reddy sent me back in 98, second half to Hyderabad for 6 months from Singapore. And they said that the company is undergoing a merger, and after 6 months, you go back to Singapore with increased responsibilities. So I said, okay. While I was there, our joint venture in Brazil got into some trouble. And 1 week before I was returning to Singapore, the Dr. Reddy's management asked me whether I would go to Latin America. And I said, do I have a choice? They said, you have, but we don't. At that time, we were idealistic. So we took it on the chin and went. Obviously, it was not a bed of roses. I moved to a village in Brazil without knowing the language. Our hostile joint venture partners who were bent on denying access to us, and that's why my predecessor ran away. But I was young, I had nothing to lose, and I had a really optimistic view of life, so I stayed. I remember that I learned the language without going to a tutor because I could memorize words. So I used to go to the restaurant, pay the waiter money. So every dish used to come past me and the waiter told me and I memorized it. Over time, I became friends with the owner and I helped to not only stabilize the joint venture, but Dr. Reddy is giving increased responsibilities to manage the group's operations in the entire Latin America, from Mexico to Chile. Then I set up this subsidiary. However, all good things come to an end. In 2002, January, I left the Reddy's because I got an offer from, at that time, Argentina's biggest pharmaceutical company to join them. So I resigned from Dr. Reddy's, came back to Hyderabad and joined this Argentine company to look after, to start their Asia operations. We opened an office in Hyderabad and Singapore. Hyderabad to buy raw materials, Singapore to export the finished products. That's the reason since 2002 to date, I've been working for an Argentine pharmaceutical group managing the Asia operations. So 99 to 2001 end, I was living in Brazil, learning to speak Portuguese. 2002 onwards, I'm working for an Argentine company in Asia, not learning Spanish so well because the Argentinians speak better English than I could do Spanish. So that's how I started working for an Argentine company, which I'm still working today. And Argentina is going through its economic troubles, but working for Latin American companies is a challenge. You have to be mentally very tough, very broad-minded, and you have to accept all excuses an inflation-oriented economy brings. So I go to Argentina around once a year, but I no longer travel within Latin America because my brief is the Asian region, not Latin America. And about travel. Obviously, when I lived in Brazil, I used to travel a lot in Latin America, and knowing the language, or at least pretending to know the language, which is Portuguese for Brazil and Spanish for Latin America, is an asset. So in 2017, I went with my family, my wife, and a couple of friends from Hyderabad. We traveled around Latin America for about 20 days. We traveled in Brazil, Argentina, and Peru. I won't say it is an exhaustive trip covering most of Latin America, but according to me, we covered quite a bit. We covered the Amazon, we covered the Rio, we covered Iguazu Falls, we went to Buenos Aires, we went to the tip of Patagonia's Bariloche, we did the Andean crossing, then we went to Peru, then we did the Machu Picchu trail, Cusco, and days. So I'm more than happy to, after this, to discuss with anybody about working in Latin America, living in Latin America, or traveling to Latin America. Did you get that, Ganeshan?
Yeah, absolutely. That's very exciting, and I'm really interested to see when I can travel to Latin America. So,
look, it's not too difficult for you. Emirates flies directly to all the key cities in Latin America. So you can take a flight to Sao Paulo or Rio and come out either from Argentina or from Chile. You know what I mean?
right.
For you, it's possible because from Dubai, these are all non-stop flights.
Correct.
You know?
Yes, as they do for the North America, the South America, everywhere the non-stop flights from Dubai.
So, I mean, I think they're trying to fly in Colombia also, but this is basically what it is. Mm-hmm. About working with Latin America, I have to caution you on two aspects. Mm-hmm. One is because of their Latin background, by and large, they don't have the same integrity as most people from Western Europe, okay?
Right.
Secondly, the interest rates are high, like in Argentina, it's about 80%, in Brazil, it's about 30%, which means it's subject to a lot of currency fluctuations. So even if you invoice in dollars, you have to be sure that you cover yourself with a decent margin, okay? It's not easy to do business through LCs because bank charges are so high there for people, you know? And living in Latin America, I can probably only talk about Brazil. Argentina, Buenos Aires, I've been visiting frequently for the last 18 years. And in Sao Paulo, Brazil, I lived there for 3 years. Both are very comfortable cities. They remind you, at least Buenos Aires, Argentina, of a faded Milan or Barcelona about 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
They have all the theater, the culture, and both Brazil, especially Brazil, which is very unique, they're extremely fond of Indians. This is one country they look up to us here.
Right.
You know?
So
And
that's probably one of the reasons for your success there in Brazil, in the JV, where though they had an issue, but you were able to do well.
no, that was because basically I told the partner that, look, I'm not a spy. I'll only share with my head office what you want, but don't make it unpleasant for us, because ultimately we have to manage our stake. See, sometimes what happens, people who go from head office don't realize that you have to have an even-handed view of the situation. You cannot just be a yes man. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And after all, my company is not protecting me, man. My partner, I'm dependent on his goodwill, So I can stand ground. And of course, I was quite sociable. I hung around with them on weekends. I used to go climb, driving, this, that. So maybe the gelling helped. So, as I said, Brazil, Sao Paulo is a very, very, Latin America is very comfortable because, at least in Sao Paulo, you have a kind of first world lifestyle with third world comforts, meaning you do get servants, all the stuff. Now there's quite a reasonably big Indian community. It wasn't there. That time there were only 22 families, but now I believe there are quite a few Indians in Brazil. So it's a comfortable place to be. It's not something exotic, to be scared about. Of course, one has to be careful. The level of violence in the street is quite high. So you don't wear Rolex watches and take out a camera and shoot around. You have to be aware of that. That's in all big cities in Latin America, but at least I can say Sao Paulo, Rio, as well as Buenos Aires,
So I was going to ask you that only about the safety and the security, but
Yeah, no.
even before I could ask you,
No, that's
unfortunately
that is a concern for people, but you have to be a little aware. Okay, the violence is not threatening you for your person. It's more about robbing, and at least I work for an Argentine company. When I've been to Buenos Aires or Brazil, I've not faced, I can't remember. Brazil, everybody fits in. They are all colors, from blonde, Japanese, to anything. So everybody fits in there, So that's what it is. And I don't know, can you see me on the video?
I can see very well on the video, yes.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm trying to just put an interactive map, although it may not be perfect, to show about where I traveled in Latin America.
That would be interesting, yes.
Yeah. So I'll, no. I'm just going to put this map. Just hold it. Yeah. So this is basically the outline. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
We traveled in 2017.
Oh,
I'll just keep tapping the arrow because it shows where all we went.
Okay.
Okay. No. Okay. You can see.
Just see.
Yeah. So we landed in Sao Paulo. Okay.
Okay.
Then we went up to the Amazon jungle. Okay.
Uh-huh.
which is on the equator. By the way, Brazil is such a big country
Yeah.
that it has the equator and the Tropic of Capricorn in it.
Okay, both
To
at
give
the
you an
same.
idea,
Yeah.
what it is, it's got north to south of Brazil is about a 6.5 hour flight. The whole of Europe fits into Brazil. And
Yeah.
you're talking about Indonesia down to southern New Zealand fitting in one country. Okay. So we went to the Amazon,
Uh-huh.
which is in Manaus. And Manaus is very famous because it is the only place on which had an opera house brought from Italy. Okay,
Uh-huh.
because in the early 1900s, the Brazilians had a world monopoly of rubber.
Rubber. Uh-huh.
So the rubber planters in the Amazon, it was grown wild,
Right.
were richer than the Janardhan Reddys of Bellary.
Okay.
So they could literally dismantle a house in Italy and have it installed in Manaus, which is in the heart of the Amazon jungle. Not heart of sorry, it's the mouth of the Amazon. Okay.
Right.
So it's quite surreal to watch that. Okay. Then we stayed a couple of days in the jungle lodge. Okay. Okay.
Right.
And that's at the mouth of the Amazon, where basically two rivers join to become the Amazon, like the White Nile and the Blue Nile in Sudan. Okay.
Okay. Right.
So one comes from Colombia, which is dark. One is brown from Peru. So we stayed there in the jungle lodge. Okay. Then we flew down to Rio de Janeiro. As you can see, Brazil's economic balance is very divided. Okay.
Right.
The big cities, Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, are next to each other. Next to each other means they're about 1.5 hours flight, but they are not in different geographies.
So both are port cities, right?
Exactly, both are port cities. In fact, Rio was where the Portuguese first came. Sao Paulo is like Bombay, the business capital.
Business, right? Okay.
So I was based in Sao Paulo for 3 years. Okay. Then from then we went to Iguazu Falls. Okay.
That is in which country? That's also Brazil?
Yeah, now I'm telling you. Iguazu Falls is like 300 water, 7 km. 3 countries borders meet: Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay.
Oh.
Okay. So in Iguazu, we landed at the Brazil side, and these waterfalls are due to some earthquake faults. So you have to basically see the Brazil and Argentina side. Okay.
Okay.
And
something like the Niagara at the Canada and the US border.
Yeah, exactly. But Niagara, there's only 2 or 3 falls. These are about almost 100 falls over 25 square km.
Oh, that is
because to some fault in the to look up to the lower called, because this Latin, right? They're called inferior, and the higher falls in Argentina are called superior. We find that very funny because it means different, but in Latin it means lower or higher.
Okay.
So you got to see both sides of the falls, and then the border crossing. We took a flight from the Argentina side of Iguazu Falls to Buenos, okay, which is the capital of Argentina. Okay. I told you is a mixture of Barcelona, Milan. It's as sophisticated as you can be. Everybody from drivers dress in suits. People dress up for dinner. They go to the theater, opera. You name it in sophistication, Argentina has it. Okay.
Right.
And like I said, everybody from driver to the big boss wears a suit.
Okay.
Then from there we went to a town called Bariloche, which is the tip of Patagonia. Okay.
Mhm.
You must have heard of Patagonia, and about area of 11 million square kilometers, divided between Chile
Right.
and Argentina. Incidentally, Argentina has 3/4 40 million people. Okay.
Mm.
So it's a huge country. I consider the most beautiful country in Latin America, but of course I'm biased because I know it the best from all my travels. Then from Bariloche, we went via Buenos Aires to Peru. Okay. And from Peru, if you have to go to Machu Picchu, you have to go through a few steps. Means you have to land in Cusco, then you take an overland journey to Machu Picchu. Basically, they try to acclimatize you because you go from sea level to 12,000 feet in 1 hour's flight. Okay.
Oh.
Machu Picchu is exactly what its people say. It's beautiful. It's full of tourists. It's some old Inca ruins discovered only in the 1900s. So the Spanish did not plunder it. Okay. But if you're asking me, is it sophisticated or anything great? No. But everybody talks about Machu Picchu. So if you go to Peru, people will say, why didn't you go to Machu Picchu? Okay. Then
What
we,
is
of
the
course,
time period of Machu Picchu, Vikram Ber?
see,
What is
it's
it?
during the Inca period. Okay. We're talking about the 12th or 10th, 12th to the 14th, 1500. So let's say 12th, 13th to the 16th century. This is
Okay.
before the Spanish. But the Spanish finished all the Inca civilization. This was covered by jungle, so they never saw it. It's a Yale professor who excavated it, and then the Peru government excavated it, and we have Machu Picchu today. The reason why people admire it is it has been taken over by the jungle, so it's not been destroyed.
Yeah.
Then we went to this place, Titicaca. Lake Titicaca is at about 14,000 feet, and it's about a 7,000 square mile or kilometer lake. Okay, it's between Peru and Bolivia. Okay,
Okay.
it's the highest or the largest freshwater lake in the world, or the highest freshwater lake in the world. Okay, and we stayed. Basically, they have islanders who live on reeds. So as the reeds get rotten, they put fresh reeds. So imagine the island is not made of mud; it's made out of reed. Okay, so that's where we were for 20 days, 23 days.
Did you cover Chile also?
My wife and I have been to Chile, and I've been to Chile on work, but not on this trip.
On this, okay.
But I've been to Chile, Santiago. I consider that to be one of the most advanced cities in Latin America. And of course, the other side of Patagonia, you can cover from Chile, that Torres del Paine and all. But I didn't, on this 20-day trip, which I'm telling you, I didn't go on it to Chile because there's just too much to do, you know.
Is Chile the longest country in the world? Such a long strip? No, it may not be longest. Of course, you have Russia.
Well, Chile is certainly the longest country. They claim that you can ski in the morning in Chile in the Andes and then go to the beach in the afternoon on the Chilean coast. Because I think it's not more than 100 km wide or something.
Right.
Why Chile is so narrow and Argentina so broad is because the Andes is the natural barrier. Okay.
Okay.
So that's why Argentina looks like a inverted Amul cheese cube. I mean, not Amul cheese, those triangle cheeses. And Chile is long and narrow. Okay.
Yeah.
So since we are on that, I'd just probably like to share a bit of history of Latin America, which
Please.
people will understand. See,
Yeah.
Brazil is the only country in Latin America which speaks Portuguese. Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of Latin America, from Mexico to Chile, they speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Right? How is that possible? And that's what I'll just probably talk about. Okay. Basically, in the 15th century, Portugal and Spain were the only competing powers in Europe. Okay. And then the Pope was worried because two Catholic countries fighting for everything. Okay. So he did a treaty where he created an imaginary line and said everything west of, to the right of the line, which is east of it, belongs to Portugal. Everything to the west of the line belongs to the Spanish. Okay. That is roughly how Latin America, by the time when the line was made, Latin America hadn't been discovered. Can you believe that? But
Oh.
at the time of the Pope, they gave some imaginary, distance and said, this treaty was done around the time Columbus landed in the Dominican Republic, not even Latin America. What I'm talking, continental Latin America, okay? But there you had it. So when the Portuguese discovered Brazil in the early 1500s, they occupied the big portion. The Spanish came in from and all, and they occupied the western part of Latin America, okay? The second question people may ask is, how is Brazil one country and the whole of Spanish Latin America many countries? Okay.
Yeah.
The reason is when Napoleon invaded Europe and he invaded Spain, the Spanish king lost control of his colonies. Okay. So each of these colonies, which were occupied by Spanish colonialists, they they revolted against the Spanish Empire because there was no Spanish king. Okay.
Okay.
However, the British, who did not have much of a stake in Latin America, was very close to the Portuguese ruling family. Okay. They provided a ship to the Portuguese emperor to flee to Brazil when Napoleon invaded his country. So the Portuguese emperor landed in Brazil. And since he landed in Brazil, there was no need for the subjects to revolt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, of course, in the 1820s, when seeing the rest of Spanish Latin America disintegrating, the Portuguese emperor went back to Portugal to say that now that Napoleon had been overthrown, he left his son behind and he said, if Brazil wants independence, so be it. You know what I mean? So the son did a divorce from his father. That means Brazil separated from Portugal without bloodshed.
Okay.
So that is why the Portuguese part of Latin America, what we call Brazil, remained a contiguous whole. Okay.
Okay.
And in 1870, of course, then there was Republican movement, and the Brazilian emperor, who was the Portuguese emperor's son, he lost power. So that explains the Portuguese part of Latin America is one, whereas the rest of Spanish Latin America is so many countries: Mexico, Colombia, Peru, Ecuador. You name the country, they speak Spanish, and they're separate.
Right.
With the result, Brazil probably has frontiers with almost all the countries,
Yeah.
And that's area where the British in spite of interfering everywhere in Asia, they could not get much of a stranglehold. They only occupied the north of Brazil, what is called British Guyana, you know.
Right.
But they interfered a lot in the revolution. They interfered in the Argentine revolution by giving support. They helped Chile in its war against Peru. So the British were involved as instigating, or what we call today non-state actors. Other than Guyana, they did not have any other colony in America.
Vikram,
Anyway,
your audio is cut. Vikram,
sorry?
one question. One question. I missed your audio a little bit, but it's okay. This British had something to do with Argentina. You remember they had this what is that war?
Or Falklands War.
Falklands War. Yeah, yeah. So what is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
relationship with Argentina?
No, not a relay. Well, I'll tell you. I'll just tell you. Thank you. Basically, what happened is the South Atlantic, where Falklands Island was, in the 1800s, was a very lucrative place for killing whales. Okay, as you know, before oil was discovered in the Arabian countries, whale products were very much prized for oil, fat, wax, anything. Okay. So in the South Atlantic, British occupied some islands, not for anything, but to provide coal for their ships. You know what I mean? They burnt all the firewood to create coal so that they could hunt for whales in the South Atlantic. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what happened? These were islands claimed by nobody, occupied by nobody, and the British just, this thing. Okay. Over time, you know how the British, they have PhDs in colonizing. They put some people, some sheep, everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Argentina in the late 70s was undergoing an economic crisis, and it was in the dictatorship of the generals. Okay. So they thought the Falkland Islands is more or less in Argentina's continental shelf. Okay. They thought if we occupy the island, some 2,000 people are there. I mean, who's Britain going to enforce their rights over 6,000 kilometers? Okay. So they said this was a part of the Spanish kingdom, and the British threw out the original people, and we are reclaiming it, and they occupied it. Okay. But the Prime Minister of the day was Margaret Thatcher. Okay. She was also going into an election, ships and aircraft, and they had the Argentine Navy and the Air Force was outgunned, outmaneuvered. Gurkhas, as you know, were paratrooped onto Falkland Islands and were basically conscripts. They threw them out. Okay. Britain was Chile and Argentina, because of a common, generally countries a common border generally are not the best of friends. Okay. But Chile actively was, in fact, I consider it to be the closest ally of Britain even today in Latin America. Okay. Chile provided intelligence, the refueling, and the satellite images to Britain. Okay. And with that, I'm not saying only due to that, with that, Britain was able to overcome China. So it was a war which never have happened, but it did,
That's interesting part of the history.
And I mean, of course, as you probably remember, I'm quite fond of history. Okay, and I do make it a habit of reading about the countries before I travel and live, because I believe that is the highest form of compliment you can pay to the local people if you do understand some of the history and culture, you know.
That's
So,
that's right.
of course, I did make an effort to read, and it didn't come naturally, but yeah, there you go. That's where it is, you know.
Before the advent of the internet and online publications, we used to buy the Lonely Planet guides. I used to buy Lonely Planet guide before embarking on a trip to any country. Very nice summary of
Okay.
the history, right?
No, no, I
So,
never thought of that. I buy on Amazon, one or two of the authors, because, when I was based in Brazil, I was traveling to each of these countries once a quarter. So I was traveling quite often. But yeah, it's a good idea to buy Lonely Planet because you know what to go and where to see, you know?
yeah, right, correct.
True, true, true.
Okay, Vikram,
So,
talking about South America, I think one contemporary thing which is going on now is about this island of Ecuador, which has been in the news, right?
see that Nityananda, right?
Yes.
See, Ecuador is a very small country. In fact, most people know Ecuador because of the Galapagos Islands. Okay,
Right.
and it's not a great country. In fact, the whole economy means dollar runs. And if somebody did a real estate transaction to sell
Uh-huh.
something, I mean, somebody
Yeah.
bought it only because they made a big deal. It's become a big deal, you know.
Yeah.
Ecuador has so many islands off its coast. It's possible that a private island was bought sold, you know.
Hmm. Could be.
It's famous for the Galapagos Islands, which,
Mhm.
as you probably know, was discovered by Charles Darwin. And you have those famous, all the animals been allowed to evolve differently, and you have
Uh-huh.
species you don't have everywhere, and the Ecuador government allow people to live there. You have to go and carefully regulate it a day and come back.
Okay. Actually, when I see the map, there's very interesting that Brazil, you mentioned that most countries in South America, Brazil borders. So only the Ecuador and Chile from the South
Exactly.
American region
Exactly,
border.
exactly. That's what I said. I use the word most because
Most,
yes,
yeah, correct,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
So great. It's a very nice
So
introduction and the history on South America.
yes, yes. Thank you so much, Ganeshan. And as I can see from my record, um, you're the one who joined in live. I hope if the other friends want to have any information on the three parameters: travel, working, business, or even some of the history on a one-to-one basis, I'll be more than happy to help.
That's very nice, Vikram. Thank you very much. And
Thank you,
looking
thank you.
forward to seeing you in Dubai sometime soon
No, no,
in 2020.
definitely, definitely. And just to ask, I stop the video or leave the, how do I do it?
I really don't know. I didn't do a live session on Zoom because it was not working for me. So I did a
Okay,
recorded one and sent it to her. So I think there is a stop videos there. So if you press the stop video, I'm sure it stops recording after that.
okay. And then
You
I
see
have
on
to
the,
probably share the content to Shalini or something, right?
yeah, yeah, correct.
Okay, then I share the content before I stop the video.
Is there a share button coming on that
Yes, yes,
icon?
it's in green.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So if you press share,
Yeah, it tells me screen, photos, cloud, box, Dropbox, Google
no, no,
Drive.
no, 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 no. That sharing means during your conversation, during your talking, you want to share something on the screen for
Okay,
that purpose.
okay,
Imagine
okay,
you are
okay.
showing me the your trip to South America, the routes. So that you want to share, you can show that. This is not that. You stop video, it will record it. And Shalini will later on share the link in the group.
Okay. So let me, yeah. So that's what it is. And thank you so much for, coming online and talking. I'm grateful to have done this. And thank you so much for your kind support. Without you, Catch 22 doesn't exist.
No. All of us are are part of AS22, right? Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
the group. Thank you so much, Ganeshan.
Thanks, Vikram.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm stopping the video.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.